Welcome to the Top Secret Wedding Podcast. Our top secret tip for today is make sure you have an email address with your domain at it.
If you are just starting out in business and you are wondering what the first 5 steps you should take are, this is your episode to listen to. This is the Top Secret Wedding Podcast, where we share top secret tips to help you take your wedding game to the next level.
I'm Annika, and I'm a wedding coordinator, enthusiast, and venue manager for one of the best venues in Idaho.
I'm Chris, and I'm a DJ, master of ceremonies, and all-around lover of weddings.
We're on a mission to improve weddings and wedding professionals everywhere.
Today, I wanted to talk about the first 5 things that, in our opinion, you should do as a new business. So if you are a brand new business, maybe you've been shooting weddings for 6 months, a year, something like that, and you think, okay, now is the time. Now I got to start the new business. These, in our opinion, well, in my opinion, and you can disagree, but in our opinion, they are what you should be doing as a new business.
Agreed.
So the very first thing that you should do is get a DBA, which stands for doing business as, or create an LLC. So let's break that down just a little bit. So DBA basically allows you to do business as your business name. So, for example, my name is Chris Davis. Mm-hmm. My business name is Wildfire Entertainment. When I first started my business, it was probably a couple years in, I got a DBA, which allowed me to act as my business, which allowed me to get a bank account in that name. So if somebody wanted to write a check to Wildfire Entertainment, they can now do that and I can cash it at the bank. Smart. If not, they have to write it to me personally, which just doesn't feel as professional.
Yeah, no, I agreed.
So that's a doing business as. When you do that, by default, you are treated basically as a sole entity. So you are the business is you. Mm-hmm. There's no separation. So when you file taxes, you have to file an extra form or 2, but you basically are filing on your behalf and the business is you.
Yeah.
The DBA doesn't change any of that. It just allows you to collect checks.
I have a question before that.
Yeah.
So what if you are wanting to start a business, but you have no idea what you want to call your business?
I think you start your business and you just do it in your own name. And then once you figure it out, then you switch it over.
Gotcha.
That's
Yeah.
I think that's actually what
I feel like, and a lot of times when I've talked to people, that's what they get so hung up on, the name. And they're like, well, I don't know. And so I would just encourage you to just jump in and you can always switch it.
Yeah. And I think, people know the name, but I'd say at least 50% of the time, people are referring to me in reviews and in communication.
Yeah.
They're not saying Wildfire Entertainment. They're saying, go call DJ Chris, right?
Yep.
So if you're doing your marketing and messaging the right way, then hopefully they know that you are the business as well.
Yep.
Or at least you're connected.
Agreed.
So that's getting a DBA. Alternatively, you can create an LLC, which I think is a good idea. Probably when you first start your business, you're going to want to start as an LLC. Mm-hmm. Unless you started multiple businesses, you already have people in place. But if that's the case, then you probably aren't listening to this podcast episode. But the LLC basically allows you to create a separate entity, a separate, this business is now its own thing. So for example, if somebody sues the business, they're suing the business, not you.
Yep.
Whereas if you only have a DBA, they're suing you. So they could sue you and get all your junk, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully you're not doing a bad enough job for that to happen. But an LLC also creates a DBA. So if you register your business as an LLC, then you can that basically is also registering that name.
For sure. For those that don't know, what does an LLC mean?
Limited Liability Corporation. So
solid.
Literally limits your liability.
Yep.
There are some other benefits to it that we're not going to go into it during this episode, but just know that if you're starting a new business, just create an LLC.
Yeah.
Costs a few $100s. There are businesses. I think when I did mine, I went through some business that did it for me. You can do it yourself as well, but it is helpful to have a business do it because they know what boxes to check and all that.
Yep.
So
totally.
Yeah. So that's number 1. Get a DBA or create an LLC.
Yep.
Number 2,
Get a bank account.
get a separate bank account.
Get a separate bank account.
We're going to do an episode on accounting and how my preferred method of accounting, but at the very least, have a business account and have your own personal account. Have them separate.
1000%.
Makes it much easier when it comes to taxes. It also is nice to be able to separate those things for your personal finances.
Yeah, well, I think that's the thing is it helps separate them for your personal finances and your business finances. Yeah. It doesn't get all muddied and in the gray between. So,
exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll go into that in a little bit more in depth in the accounting episode. But yeah, get a separate bank account. It's free. So just do it.
Just do it.
And I mean, most accounts, I think you have to get a checking and a savings account assigned with, at least at my bank. So just get both. Yeah. So, and just like you have personal savings, you should also have a business savings. So if anything happens in the business, you've got stuff to fall back on. Okay.
Agreed.
So that's number 2. Get a bank account. Number 3.
Shadow another professional.
Dude.
Just, honestly, I think we said this before, but like people love to share their knowledge.
They do.
Call people up and just say, hey, I mean, maybe not if it's a competitor right in your area, but call someone up and just say, hey, like, I see you do this really well. Can I chat with you for a minute? Yeah. Or see if someone will let you shadow them. Most people are more than willing to.
Right.
So.
Yeah. The reason that you want to do this as a new business is because there are things that they have learned that they can guide you through, that they can say, okay, don't do it this way, do it this way, because you're going to kick yourself.
Exactly. So, that's the thing. Most people are more than willing to share their knowledge, and they don't want to make you go through the lessons they've learned.
Right.
So
they're happy to be like, well, let me share how I avoided this. Yeah. So,
yep. Agreed.
So that's number 3. Number 4, get a website.
Get a website. I can't tell you how many times I try to refer someone and they don't have a website and people are like, well, is this legit? Right. I don't know. Like, it's a phone number. I don't want to call. Get a website. And with your website, it costs a little bit, but just get your own domain.
Yeah.
It's worth it. I promise.
100% worth it. The whole thing about getting your website is it's going to make you look more professional than maybe you even think you are. Mm-hmm. Because if you have a website, people, that legitimizes you, basically.
That instantly legitimizes you.
Yeah.
It's just how it is.
So get a website, and there are enough templates out there on Wix or even WordPress, if you know how to use it, like that you can set up a simple but effective website that makes you look professional.
Yeah, if you're new in starting it, try to get some of your work there, some bit of a portfolio. But even if you're not there yet, just get a simple website. It's just going to make you that much more legitimate.
Yep, definitely. And have somebody look over that website.
Yes, have multiple people look over that website.
Because you may think your design is so cool, but it may be confusing. So,
Agreed.
The other thing about getting a website is it's going to help you, and this may be further down the line for some of you, but it's going to help you attract the right customer and repel the wrong customer. Mm-hmm. So, but in your first few years, that's kind of your learning process of what kind of customer you want.
Yeah, exactly. With the website as well, though, it gives you a business email.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I'm so, I do not like giving out my personal information. Right. But if you have a website, it instantly, you get that business email and you can communicate as a business instead of your personal email.
Yep, definitely. And again, it's free.
Yeah.
It's free. If you have the domain and the hosting, it's free. And if your hosting is charging you for it, then get different hosting. But if somebody sees that you are, so our website is wildfiredj.com. If the email is your name or hello or info@wildfiredj.com, it instantly boosts your credibility.
Yeah.
With the client.
1000%.
I have, so I went down to Utah this last weekend for a wedding in Price, Utah. It was a beautiful wedding. I'd never been there. And so what do they call those? Are they bluffs or buttes, or I don't know what they're called, but Google it. You'll see what I mean.
They're cool.
They're really, really cool looking. So Anyways, on the way down there, I realized that, so I print out the couple's love story, because I've interviewed them, and I print it out and I give it to them. And they always love it. But on the way down, I realized I had spelled the groom's name wrong throughout the entire thing.
Oh, good catch.
Yeah. So I was on the way down, I edited it, and I looked for a business that I could send it to. So I sent it to the business. It was, I think, in Draper, and it was a Postnet in Draper. They killed it. I even left a Google review for them because they did a really good job. So I sent it to them, and when I got there, as soon as I walked in the door, I could see that they were working on my printout, and I said, that's for me. And they said, oh my goodness, this love story is so cute. It's so adorable. Like, how did you? I'm like, well, I do this for all my couples.
Yeah.
And like, they were really impressed. And I didn't have to give them my name or anything because they already had my email address.
Right. So they already knew who you were.
Exactly. So if they were impressed enough, I didn't have to give them a business card. I didn't have to advertise myself at all. All they needed to know was my email address.
Yeah.
At wildfiredj.com.
Yeah.
So there's no reason to not do it except for a little bit of setup. And by the way, your email address, if you have a custom email address and you use Gmail, you can still use your Gmail. My personal and my professional emails go into the same inbox. So I can reply to them both. So not hard. Do it. It's essential. So that's 4B, I guess.
4B. Number 4 is get a website.
Yeah.
And 4B is the email address.
Yeah, exactly.
So, last but not least, number 5.
Number 5?
You have to get honest feedback and reviews.
Yep. There are so many things that you don't know. There are so many things that I don't know.
You don't know what you don't know.
And so you need to figure that out from your clients' perspectives.
Yeah.
There was a truck that was serving drinks at a recent wedding a few weeks ago, and everybody that walked away from the truck said, "It's just okay."
Really?
Yeah, all the drinks were just okay. And the person running the thing, the truck was really nice, right? But they didn't hear that feedback from the client. So if they got that feedback, they would learn, like, okay, I need to use a different top to the cups or whatever it is. But if you don't learn those things, you're going to continue getting the same type of business, and you're not going to be able to increase your rates. You're not going to be able to get better clients. So it's important that you get honest feedback from your clients, and if possible, reviews for the social proof. So when other clients are looking for you.
Yep, exactly. I think that's the thing. It's important to get feedback, but also show your appreciation for that feedback.
Yeah.
A lot of times people don't want to give any negative criticism because they're like, well, that's awkward. I don't want to. But if someone says, hey, I think this would work better, let them know you appreciate that feedback. You know, if we ever get someone that's like, hey, like these sheets weren't the best or whatever.
Right.
I would never know that. I don't sleep in our beds at LaBelle.
Yeah.
Only by them giving that feedback, I learn that, and I let them know, thank you so much for your feedback.
Yeah.
That's the only way we improve.
Yep.
So get that and get reviews so you've got the evidence.
We talked about this on the review episode, but if you know they're going to give a good review, ask for a review. If you're not sure, ask for feedback on like a Google form or something.
Exactly.
So that way you can take that. And 5A is make sure you're implementing changes from that.
Yeah, if you get feedback, make sure you're implementing it.
Right. So. Obviously, not all feedback is honest feedback, and not all feedback is stuff you want to take seriously. But most of the time, if you're getting the same repeated, like, we hated that he played line dances feedback, stop playing line, you know.
It's probably a clue right there.
Yeah. So those are our first 5 things. I'm going to list them one more time.
Yeah.
Let's go back and forth.
Okay.
Number 1, get a DBA or create an LLC.
Number 2, get a bank account.
Number 3, shadow a professional.
Number 4, get a website.
Number 5, get honest feedback and reviews. So if you're starting a new business, jump on those things, and it's going to put you light years ahead of others.
Agreed. So,
all right.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks. We'll see ya. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Top Secret Wedding Podcast.
Subscribe, rate, and review us, and we'll see you next time.